Imagine 3 years later, you find out you were lied to. I'll get into that and then the latest home prices and insights for the Pickering Durham region for week ending April 24th, 2024. Here's what happened. We listed a property in Brampton. Within a day or so of listing the property, the neighbor phones me. I didn't know he was the neighbor. He introduced himself as the neighbor and tells me that my listing is wrong. I said, what do you mean my listing is wrong? He says that the square footage on my listing is wrong. I'm showing that the home is 2,600 square feet. And he says that my home is 3,100 square feet. And I said, well, that's interesting. How do you know that my listing is 3,100 square feet? And he says that he's got the exact same model. He lives right next door and he knows they're 3,100. So I said, well, how do you know that? Now, keep in mind, for me to put 2,600 square feet on the listing, it means that for sure, I do this with every listing. I downloaded the MPACT report. MPACT is the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation, and they have records of the square footage. That's what they use to base their property taxes on. So I download that report, and sometimes that square footage may be off. So I also hire a third party, a company, to make a digital floor plan of the house that also gives me the square footage. So I compare the two and I figure out that way I've got two sources of the square footage. One is from the city government files and one is from a company I paid to create the floor plan. So I'm pretty confident I've got the right square footage. But this gentleman says that he's got the exact same floor plan and it's wrong. So we agree I'm going to pass by, I'm going to meet, I want to speak with him. And as I enter his home, he's right. It's the same floor plan. It's evident that when you're in there, it's the same floor plan. So I said, well, what makes you think yours is 3,100? And he goes into his desk and he pulls out the previous listing. I had already looked up the previous listing. He bought the home 3 years ago and his listing said 3,100 square feet. So I kind of knew what he was going to show me. So he pulls up this listing to see 3,100 square feet. And I said, okay, where else does it say 3,100 square feet? Because that's just the listing. It is marketing material. Where do you have? And I showed him the MPACT report I pulled up. I showed him the floor plan I had made up for the home, the 3D floor plan, and he didn't have any of those. So I told him that I'm pretty sure it's 2,600 square feet, and I'm also pretty sure that he's wrong. And now he's a little bit confused. And then we got onto the subject of the basement. He believes he has a legal basement apartment, I should say. So I pulled out my phone. I went to the government site that you could look this up, and his isn't registered. My client's home, I showed him, is registered as a legal basement apartment, the neighbor, but his home, it's not there. He does not have a legal basement apartment, and he thought he did. So two big points. He's got the wrong square footage. He was under the impression he had 3,100, and it's actually 26. That's a big difference. And then there's the legal basement apartment he doesn't have that he thinks he has. He has a basement apartment, but it's just not legal. It's not registered with the city. Didn't meet all the criteria, I guess, to be classified as a legal basement apartment. That's a big difference also. It's a big difference in selling price, those 2 points. It's also a big difference in purchase price. He bought it thinking he's buying a 3,100 square foot home, meaning when he's looking at comparable properties, he's comparing to properties that actually are 3,000 square feet or more, and that's what he's comparing the price to. And the legal basement apartment, look, there's a ton of basement apartments out there. Only a few of them are actually legal basement apartment. you pay a premium for those. They cost more to build and you pay a premium. Well, that's what he did when he purchased, and he purchased only 3 years ago. So here he is thinking that he's been lied to, and he's just found out now. It's not that I convinced him that he's totally wrong, but he sees the evidence I have, and he's now kind of scratching his head wondering what happened, and now he's upset. And I told him, he says, what do I do? I said, speak to your lawyer, speak to Rico, tell him what happened, see what your recourse is, but your home is not 3,100 square feet and you do not have a legal basement apartment. And that's what he paid for. Folks, all sorts of things can be written on the listing, and it's up to you whether you're going to believe it or not. It's also up to you and your realtor to double check some of these crucial, vital facts. You got to check their square footage. There's ways of doing that. And if you don't know how to get this, if your realtor doesn't know how to get these reports from the city, the square footage, for example, pull out a tape measure, measure it. That's what we used to do before we had access to all this stuff online. Measure it yourself. If you believe or it's been advertised it's a legal basement apartment, you can find out. There's government websites where you could check that quickly, or make a phone call, or take a drive to City Hall. And if your realtor's not doing that for you, at the very least, you need to know that those are the real numbers and the real situations, because at the end of the day, you're the one who's spending the money on it. Double check, double check, double check every time. Make sure the vital details that you're counting on, that you're basing money on and value, are accurate. If you think this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. If you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. If you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, it's really simple. Up here, there's a link to my calendar. Below this video in the description, there's a link. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Now, let's get into the numbers. Here we go, folks. Peel and Durham region. We're going to be dealing with detached properties only. Mississauga, Brampton, Durham. Just a quick summary on average sold price. Mississauga looks like it's trending up. Brampton and Durham looks like prices are trending down. So a huge price gap between Brampton and Mississauga, about $415,000 price difference. So often people that are buying in Brampton, not considering Mississauga, people buying in Mississauga are not necessarily considering Brampton. Big price difference. We're going to start off with Mississauga. For week ending April 24th, 54 detached properties were sold. Pretty much where we sold last week. We're off by 2, but 54 were sold. 8 of those were at $2 million or more. Average sold price is $1,589,000. We look back, draw a straight line. Which way are prices going? It's pretty clear. Average prices are trending upwards in Mississauga for detached properties. Compared to last year, 1,589 is 1% lower. The median price is 8% lower year over year. Looking at the dotted line, that's a 4-week moving average. Yeah, looks like medium and average price are trending upwards. 54 were sold. 32% sold at list price or more. So that percentage is trending down. So it's a little bit less competitive than what it was just a few weeks ago. Listings, have a look at this. The orange, that's this year. The blue, that's the same week a year ago. Since middle of March, we've been listing way more detached properties than what we did a year ago. So there's far more properties being put on a market. I'm going to go back one slide. We're selling either the same, and that's for most of March, but now in April, sales are lower than what they were a year ago. So sales are lower, listings are higher, active listings are trending up. We've got 482 detached properties available for sale. Compared to what we had for sale a year ago, we're up 94% on active listings year over year. So they've almost doubled. So sales are down, listings are up. The amount of properties available for sale is up. It's almost doubled. Months of inventory sitting at 2 months of inventory. We are just north of the middle part of a seller's market. So seller's market is 3 months, 0 to 3 months. We're sitting at 2 months of inventory. As active listings continue to grow, assuming they continue to grow, and let's say sales continue to either stay where they are or trend down, you're going to see months of inventory starting to climb, leading into a balanced market. Here's Brampton. Brampton is kind of going the other way, although sales overall haven't changed much. 63 detached properties were sold. 2 of those were at $2 million or more. Average sold price is $1,174,000. If we look at just this year, 2024, and let's kind of ignore most of January because we're coming out of the Christmas season, there's really 1, 2, 3 weeks where we've had a lower average sold price than where we are right now. Most of the year so far has been higher than where we're sitting at $1,174,000. Looking at this chart here, I would say average prices have been trending down in Brampton. Compared to last year, 1174 is 8% lower year over year. The median price is 6% lower. And when you look at the dotted line, the 4-week moving average, although median price is kind of flat, average price does look like it's trending down. Sales, way lower than what we were selling this time a year ago, and 35% of the 63 that sold, 35% sold at list price or more, so a little over a third. Listings, way more properties are coming up for sale than what we were doing a year ago, so that's a big number. 652 are available for sale. That's active listings. That's been trending up. Versus a year ago, we're up 150% active listings. So let me go back because this helps us to understand what direction are we going. So sales, way less than a year ago. Listings, way higher. In fact, we have more than doubled, 150% more active listings. Months of inventory, climbing, sitting at 2.7. So months of inventory is climbing, prices are dropping, sales are dropping, listings are increasing. You kind of see the picture that's the storm that's starting to brew here. Here's Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby. This is my Durham sample. 48 detached properties were sold. I put a question mark there because I don't know why sales dropped that much, but 48 were sold. No properties sold at $2 million or more. Average sold price is $1,120,000. One of the lowest weeks we've had as far as average sold price this whole year. We did see for a while, we were talking about how prices are increasing in Durham. Now, for a while now, they've been coming down. Compared to last year, 1,120 is 5% lower year over year. The median price is 6% lower. The dotted line shows what I just explained. For a while, prices were increasing. Now they're trending down. Sales, we've been selling pretty much, if you kind of look back over the last 3 months, pretty similar to what we were doing in sales a year ago, except for the week we're talking about now, April 24th. Sales are way lower than what we were selling this time a year ago, but still a high percentage. 73% are selling at list price or more. Listings are way up. We have 149% more. We have 149% increase in active listings year over year. We're sitting at 306 active listings. Months of inventory, extremely low still. 1 month of inventory. That explains why 73% are selling at list price or more. Months of inventory, pretty much, I would say, an aggressive seller's market when you're looking at 1 month of inventory. Here's a quick summary. Brampton, way up here at, well, way up there. Compared to Durham, Brampton at 2.7 months of inventory seems way up there, but just approaching the balanced market. Mississauga getting closer, also at 2 months of inventory. I did put condos here for comparison, but we're not talking about the condo market today. I think in most areas, you're going to experience a balanced market, except Ajax, Pickering, and Whitby, pretty much a seller's market still, and an aggressive seller's market at that. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.